Let us talk about genetically modified organisms. So, what is GMO? GMO, which stands for Genetically Modified Organisms, refers to any organism whose DNA has been modified using genetic engineering and technology. In the food industry, GMO crops have had genes added in for various reasons, such as improving their growth, nutritional content, sustainability, pest resistance, and ease of farming. While it's possible to naturally give foods desirable traits through selective breeding, this process takes many generations. Also, breeders may struggle to determine which genetic change has led to a new trait. Genetic modification significantly accelerates this process by using scientific techniques that give the plant the specific desired trait. For example, one of the most common GMO crop is Bt corn, which is genetically modified to produce the insecticide Bt toxin. By making this toxin, the corn can resist pests, reducing the need for pesticides. GMO crops are incredibly common, with at least 90% of rice and corn are being grown through genetic techniques. In fact, it is estimated that up to 80% of foods in supermarkets contain ingredients that come from genetically modified crops. While GMO crops make farming much easier, there is some concerns around their potential effect on the environment and their safety for human consumption, specifically surrounding illnesses and allergies. However, the Food and Drug Administration and Environmental Protection Agency maintain that the GMOs are safe for human and animal consumption. So, advantages of GMO foods. First, GMO crops have been genetically modified to express a gene that protects them against pests and insects. For example, the Bt gene is commonly genetically engineered into crops like corn, cotton, and soybeans. It comes from a naturally occurring bacteria known as Bacillus thuringiensis. This gene produces a protein that is toxic to several pests and insects, which gives the GMO plant a natural resistance. As such, the GMO crops don't need to be exposed to harmful pesticides anymore. In fact, an analysis of 147 studies from 2004 found that GMO technology has reduced chemical pesticide use by 37% and increased crop yields by 22%. Other GMO crops have been modified with genes that help them survive in stressful conditions, such as drought, and resist diseases like blights, resulting in a higher yield for farmers. Together, these factors help lower the cost for the farmers and consumers because it allows a greater crop yield and growth through harsher conditions. Additionally, genetic modification can increase the nutritional value of foods. For example, rice, high in beta-carotene, also called golden rice, was developed to help prevent blindness in regions where local diets are chronically deficient in vitamin A. Moreover, genetic modification may be used simply to enhance the flavor and appearance of foods, such as the non-browning apple. In addition, current research suggests that GMO foods are safe for consumption. Although current research suggests that GMO foods are safe, there is still some concerns around their long-term safety and environmental impact. This is because GMO foods contain foreign genes, so some people worry that they harbor genes from foods that may prompt an allergic reaction. Although allergy concerns are valid, there have been no reports of allergic reactions to GMO foods currently on the market. According to the Food FDA, researchers who develop GMO foods run tests to ensure that allergens aren't transferred from one food to another. In addition, research has shown that GMO foods are no likelier to trigger allergies than their non-GMO counterparts. Yet, if you have already, for example, soy allergy, both GMO and non-GMO soy products will prompt an allergic reaction. Next is cancers. Similarly, there is a common concern that GMO foods may aid the progression of cancers. Because cancers are caused by DNA mutations, some people fear that eating foods with added genes may affect your DNA. This worry may stem partly from an early mice study, which linked GMO intake to a higher risk of tumors and early death. However, this study was later retracted because it was poorly designed. Currently, no human research ties GMO intake to cancers. At the same time, no long-term human studies exist, thus more long-term human research is needed. Other environmental and health concerns. Although GMO crops are convenient for farmers, there are environmental concerns. Most GMO crops are resistant to herbicides such as Roundup. This means that farmers can use Roundup without fear of it harming their own crops. However, a growing number of weeds have developed resistance to this herbicide over time. This has led to even more Roundup being sprayed on crops to kill the resistant weeds because they can affect the crop harvest. Roundup and its active ingredient glyphosate are subject to controversy because animal and test tube studies have linked them to various diseases. Still, a review of multiple studies concluded that the low amounts of glyphosate present on GMO foods are safer for human consumption. So the bottom line, GMOs are foods that have been modified using genetic techniques. Most foods in your local supermarkets contain GMO ingredients because they're easier and more cost-effective for farmers, which makes them cheaper for the consumer. Although current research suggests that GMO foods are safe for consumption, some people are concerned about their potential health effects. Due to the lack of long-term human studies, more research is needed.